definitely getting to meet other people in the same middle leadership roles as we are, and getting to discuss the challenges and opportunities that come in every school. Great to meet people as well who hold the same post as I do in school, and to be able to exchange ideas around that.
Getting in to listen to other keynote speakers and just maybe take a piece of nugget of information away that could possibly open up a new chapter that you could kind of evolve into.
It was a very informative and relaxing couple of days, very enjoyable.
Se an buntáiste is mó agam se ná go mbíonn an deis ag na ceannairí meánacha tacla chéile agus aithne chur chéile agus fálamóna chéile.
It's a really important initiative to encourage and stimulate and nurture the leadership journey of each of these very important people who work in our schools to support principals and deputy principals, and we're delighted that we have such a wonderful lineup of amazing speakers, including Professor Patricia Mannix-McNamara.
What's most important about leadership is understanding that not only are we supporting the people around us, but we've great growth potential ourselves, and we have so much to offer. It was very clear at the summer school today that people felt that they could see what their capacity was and how open they were to leadership. So it's growing that space and being really positive and excited about the future, because it's full of potential for these amazing leaders that are here today.
Instead, all us middle leaders get to develop our leadership capacity and bring it back to our own school.
Well, I suppose when I think about that, I think of three areas, or three particular, I suppose, prisms that I'd want to look at. And they would be, first of all, the middle leaders looking at their own place on their own leadership journey. And for many of them, it's in the middle leadership space. For some of them, it'll go on further at some point or other. That's the first point. The second point, I suppose, we're giving them exposure to some of the national issues that they're engaging in debate on, and hearing further information about, such as special education needs, the place of IT and technology in the classroom, senior cycle, and so on. And there's probably a third area then, which is probably the real richness of this, whereby you're bringing together 16 different groups from 16 different ETBs, and the networking that can happen there, and I suppose the cross-pollination of ideas, how they share ideas with each other, what's happening in their school, how they manage certain things in their school. So it's a really practical nature of sharing, and they're probably the main points in relation to the summer school.
Today, Patricia spoke. Patricia Mannix is here from UL, and she was both inspirational and encouraging, and I suppose she prompted me to think further about maybe doing further study here in the university, to go back and further develop my own management skills. A lot of both speakers, they inspired self-reflection. And team was very, very important in what they spoke about, and building team and also building capacity. And, you know, I loved the idea of having 6 people at your table, somebody to mentor, to be the mentee, to have an inspirational person there. And I liked the sense of collective responsibility that, you know, we developed through lots of different inputs. So that was kind of what I took from the 2 days, and the one we had just now was just around, again, it's developing capacity. And how do you develop capacity? How do you encourage it? How do you allow people to see projects through to the end? How do you include people in decision making, but also let them take ownership for it? So I have to say, a really commendable conference, and I would have no hesitation in encouraging others on our own staff to do it, or anybody else actually. I think the other sectors are losing out from not having a similar conference. So I think
well, it's been a great opportunity to meet like-minded people and collaborate and exchange best practice from schools all over the country. But I suppose, as a middle leader in my school, the importance of being connected with yourself, your ability to communicate with your staff and build relationships are the massive key points that I've taken from this event so far.
Meeting with other middle leaders, sharing our experiences from different school contexts, school environments, different walks of life, and seeing, I suppose, what's similar across the board and learning from each other.
Well, first is the energy that it's giving people. It was very clear at the last workshop that I was at that all of the people participating were developing great energy from the people around them, from listening to them, from hearing them talk about things that perhaps they felt they were on their own thinking about in their own school. But when they met their colleagues from other schools around the country, they realised that everybody's in this together. There's a great joy in being here and talking to people and learning from everybody on their experiences in schools.
Well, at the summer school today, one of my key messages was that middle leaders have a particular role to play in the overall leadership of the school. This is really particularly important in view of some of the current educational priorities at the moment, For example, the department has recently launched Canalthus, the Anti-Bullying Action Plan. School self-evaluation is now moving into its third cycle, and the role of middle leaders in that regard will be really important. Middle leaders also have much to offer to the promotion of parent and student participation in the work of the school. The notion of parent and student voice is really important in the development of policies, but equally important at school level. And of course, we're in an era of curriculum change, reform and development, and the role of middle leaders, particularly, for example, in relation to the embedding of senior cycle reform and all that is coming down the tracks in relation to senior cycle redevelopment, will be critical.
One key skill, I suppose, would be being able to have good relationships. An excellent lecture this morning from Patricia Mannix on your interpersonal skills and having those good relationships, which in essence then leads us all to having good communication. And isn't that the essence of it all?
Collaboration and being able to work with others.
An skill is tábhachtí dar lamsa ná chumarsáid, agus bheith an chumarsáid le daoine.
Building relationship.
That empathy is a really important skill in the current climate as we emerge from COVID-19 and all the various other crises that we're managing in schools. And having that skill of prioritising empathy is probably the most important one from my perspective.
To work with and empower others.
I think communication, based on what I've seen over the last couple of days, communication is essential. You're going to be collaborating a lot with other staff members and with senior management, so I would say communication is key.
Teamwork.
Is to develop interpersonal relations and intrapersonal relations. They were the two things that came up today. And the interpersonal is about building relationships with your colleagues and with the students. And the intrapersonal is developing a relationship with yourself and becoming self-aware